Hey everybody, this is just a quick video on how to complete activity 9.2, filling out the summary chart. So go ahead, open up your online textbooks to activity 9.2. Now our learning target for today is we're going to use what we've learned to create a clear and organized description of the theory of plate tectonics. So this whole unit is more or less a review of plate tectonics. It's going to take a lot of what we've already learned, it's going to put it all together. And this activity will be, if you complete it well, will be a really good piece of information to have on a test, and you're going to want to use it on the test. So the expectation for you is to complete the activity, and so the assignment is activity 9.1. We have modified it. We've made it, well, quite a bit easier for you, and you'll see why in a little bit. So we're going to synthesize and organize the concepts and processes that we have been learning to better understand plate tectonics. So the procedure is we're going to fill out the summary chart. We're going to complete the first couple prompts, and I'm going to guide you through that. I'm going to show you how to do the summary chart, and I'm going to show you where you can find the answers. So when you look in your book, the first thing it says is, and this is under making sense, it says use the drawings of boundary types to answer the following questions. So you see there's three different boundary types. Here we have an oceanic plate subducting underneath a continental plate. Here we have subduction going on, but it's more or less it's two oceanic plates. One will still subduct, the more dense plate will. And here you have two continental plates. Now you do see some, when these plates come together, one is starting to go down. It's not a true subduction zone where one's just going to easily subduct underneath the other. You get more crunching going on. So the first question is, which cross sections represent the convergent boundary? What makes the three cross sections different? So which ones represent a convergent plate boundary? What makes the three cross sections different? Well, I've already kind of answered it in the introduction. So all three represent convergent plate boundaries. You know this because all the arrows show that the plates are coming together. However, what makes them different? Well, cross-section A, you have an oceanic plate subducting underneath the continental plate. So cross-section B, you have two oceanic plates coming together. Again, whether it's A or B, the one that's more dense will subduct underneath the other plate. And you guessed it, C, you got two slabs of continental plates coming together, or two continental plates coming together. You don't necessarily have a true subduction zone. They're coming together, a lot of crunching, very tall mountains. Good example of this is the Himalayan mountains. Now the next question asks, which cross sections show the formation of a volcano? Explain at least two ways that volcanoes can form. Well, if you look at it, you can see there's volcanoes here and there's volcanoes here. So if you just look at them, you know it's going to be A and B. Now, you don't have to type all this in. I'm going to give you the gist of it. I'm going to read through it, but I'm going to re-explain it and give you the gist of it. Volcanoes can form when oceanic plates subduct under continental plate material, and rock material melts, rises up through the continental plate, forms a ridge of mountains. Volcanoes can also form when oceanic plate material subducts under areas of oceanic plate materials, forming islands. And sometimes they'll call these island arcs, like the islands of Japan. So even though it says explain at least two ways, honestly, they're both the same way. As one plate subducts underneath, it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter as it subducts deeper into the earth. And as it's getting hotter and hotter, some of the material starts to melt. And not all of it melts at the exact same time. Remember, this is a mixture of lots of different rocks, lots of different minerals. So the ones that typically are less dense are the ones that typically are going to melt first. And as it melts, that melted magma, because it's less dense, will start to rise up towards the surface. And if it melts and you have an oceanic and a continental plate, you get a line of volcanoes like this. A good example of this in the world are the Andes Mountains down in South America. Now, when you have two oceanic plates, again, one's going to subduct underneath the other. Now, because it's not on land, these volcanoes have a little bit more work to do. They've got to break the surface of the earth, and they've got to get, you could have volcanoes underneath the water, but once they break the surface of the water, they form islands. So they basically form in the same way. Subduction happens, you got melting of rock, the less dense rock rises, forms volcanoes. And in C, you don't typically get volcanoes because you have no subduction going on. So you're not going to have that consistent melting that causes the magma to rise to the surface. Now, when you look at the next page, you're going to see it looks like this. And this is where we've helped you out quite a bit. Originally, what the book company or the authors wanted you to do is it wanted you to look at volcanoes. Now, convergent collision, subduction ocean plates, and convergent subduction. What they wanted you to do is fill in a little sentence or two describing it. So volcanoes, are you going to find them on convergent collisions? Yes, no. What else do you know about it? Subduction ocean plates, and then convergent subduction. So they basically want you to work with your teams to come up with these answers on your own. What Mr. Phillips and I did is we made it a little bit easier for you to complete this, is we just basically gave you a summary chart. So if you go into this right here, use the activity 9.2 answer bank to complete the activity. So when you click on that, you're going to get something that looks like this. So if we go back to this right here, volcanoes, there's 3 blanks right there. All you have to do now is you just need to go here. So under volcano, one of those blanks is going to be no volcanoes. One of those blanks is going to be volcanoes from on the continent plate parallel to the plate boundary, and volcanic island chains form on the upper, less dense ocean plate. So if we again go back there, you're going to use those 3, just copy and paste them into whatever they are. Now you know that if it's convergent subduction ocean plates, if it's ocean plates, it's 2 oceanic plates. So I know that that second one is going to be right here, volcanic island arcs form on the upper less dense ocean plate. So it's talking about 2 plates. Where do you have no volcanoes forming? We just talked about that. No volcanoes form when there's convergent collision. In other words, where there's 2 continental plates coming together. And the other one is where you have an oceanic plate and you have a continental plate. So again, if we look, it's the only one left. Volcanoes form on the continental plate parallel to the plate boundary, which is what we looked on and we talked about with these right here, where you don't have any volcanoes here. So that's how it works. So we've made it a lot easier. Instead of you trying to type this, we basically have created an answer bank for you. So for earthquakes, the next one, these are your 3 answers. Just click and paste. And in all honesty, you could probably copy all of them, put them into one of the boxes, and that way they're there, and then copy and paste 2 into the other ones, and then that way you can get done a little bit faster. So your goal is to finish this up with your partners. And your goal for this entire activity is to complete this. And, you know, on my sheet, I've got 3 pages of them. You have a computer screen, so just have to keep scrolling down. Your goal is to complete this by the end of the hour. If you get done early, I will have answer keys on the front. And you can use the paper keys. So again, the paper keys are on the front table, or if you're at home, you're finishing this because you're at home and sick, because you've been missing school and you need to make up your work, or you're doing an alternative, I'm going to show you the answers right here as well. So all I'm going to do is pop it up here. You can pause the video. You can copy these down, or hopefully you make sure you have them right first and you don't just copy them and don't do any thinking. So there's the first one. There's the second set. So again, double check, make sure you have them right. Again, all you have to do is copy and paste them from that answer bank. Here's the next screen. Here's the next set. The next set. Sorry about that down there. There. That looks a little bit better. Again, I'm rolling through these a little fast, but you just pause the video and then check to make sure you have them all right. So again, these will be an excellent review for the test, and, well, it's an open book test, so you can just open this up and then use this to help you out. So again, as always, if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.